Let's get that out of the way if we can. There we go. That's a little better. Okay. Let me get this all set up here. Channel. Copy. I think we're live, right? Yeah. Yes, we are. Let's pop out chat. Put that over here. There we go. Okay. Let's get some stuff started here. All right, so hello everyone. Welcome to the stream for those who are watching or are not. I don't know who is and who is not. But yeah, today we're going to be unboxing the Two Trees Bluer. This is basically Two Trees version or competitor to the Ender 3. In all reality, it's another version of the ANET ET4. Lots of companies deal with ANET and rebrand their printers. This is no different, in my opinion, from just looking at the pictures of the printer itself, and just kind of seeing there's quite a lot of similarities to the ANET ET4 or ET4X, it might actually be. But we'll get into it and see what's going on with it. So yeah, without further ado, let's open this bad boy up. By the way, speaking of ANETs, you guys probably noticed that I don't have my wall of ANETs anymore. Well, that's because they are all gone. I still do have 2 ANETs left, but those are actually review units that we have to unbox and take a look at. So, alrighty. So, let's see here. We have a fairly nice instruction manual. It's actually one of the nicer looking ones I've seen, with some nice visualization. Warranty card, I'm guessing. Some sort of warranty, packaging information. So it looks like this is a pretty easy setup, so we'll take a look at that. We do have some test filament, which I'll be honest, 9 times out of 10, you don't even get the ability to test what's on the SD card, so it's kind of pointless. I'm guessing this is for under the bed. This is obviously some thermal tape, so I'm guessing that's what it is. We'll take a look at that when we get the instruction manuals out, but looks like we're going to have to do a little bit of putting together here. So this is going to be a little bit longer stream than I'd like it to be, but oh well. So let's get everything unboxed here and show you guys exactly what's going on. Okay, so we have an extrusion rail. This looks like the upper extrusion, judging by the holes. We have a bag of bolts or screws. Looks like a limit switch as well. Maybe a filament runout sensor if I'm not mistaken, but again, we'll take a look at that and see. Looks like this is the extrusion rail for the hot end. Or I'm sorry, the back. This is the, what, X? No, Y. So this has got an adjustment on it, so that's nice. It does have a dual drive extruder, which is kind of nice to see. It is kind of the cheaper side ones. It does have a filament runout sensor, so that's kind of nice that it comes with that. Let's get that up off of the way. A really, really tiny filament holder. We'll see how well that one works. Some nicer holder for the right side gantry. Right side? Left side? Yeah, right side. Right side of the gantry. We have our belts for the drive itself. We have our Z lead screw. We have our Bowden tube, some flush cutters, 2-tree branded USB, micro SD card. So that's a USB converter. A handful of zip ties. I really hope they don't expect you to use those. And then our tool kits. So we'll need that to assemble. Power cord, we're not going to use it because I already have mine set up there with the longer piece. We do have some more extrusion rail. This looks like the uprights, or at least one of the uprights. It's nice, nice powder coating on those upright sections. I'm guessing for the filament holder. Could be wrong. We'll see. Let's see what else we got here. So yeah, it looks like this is going to be a similar build style like an Ender 3, where we have to pretty much build most of the machine, which is not terrible, but it's not something I'd like to do. A detachable, not so much flex, but a detachable plate. We have our USB cable, which in my opinion, you should never ever connect your printer via USB because there's just too many variations and things that can go wrong, mostly Windows updates. So if you're someone who prints via USB, I highly suggest stopping. Take this base out. So like I said, fairly simple setup. It's very similar to the ANET. Obviously, you know, 2Trees does put their branding and touches on it. So, but for the most part, it's pretty much an ANET ET4 in all reality. But it's probably got a big tree tech board in it. And then we have our other upright. So this is a single Z system. And I think that's it for the unboxing. Yeah, we don't have anything else. Let me just go ahead and get this up here. We'll mark it as an announcement and bring it to the top. Okay, I think we're good now. All right. So I'm not sure if anybody's really watching or not. I know it's kind of late or early, depending on where you are in the world. But I wanted to do this earlier, but the problem is we had a tornado warning. So the family and I were downstairs here. Because, you know, there was a possibility of a tornado in the Chicagoland area. So that was fun. So, and then on top of it, the power was going in and out. So couldn't really have a stable stream with, you know, little to no power. One thing I hate is unwrapping these things like this. One thing I will say that Creality does well is they package this in one just like simple sleeve. So, all right, Oh, well, good. At least there's one person watching that I can see. Sorry, I don't have, like... I need to set up my OBS with, like, counters and everything and see who... I can see who is watching and things like that. Hey, Carl, how's it going? Carl. Alright, so let's see here. We're just getting into the building process of this. Parts list, okay. It looks like we're pretty much everything is here. Yeah, so our build volume is going to be 235, 235, 280. So it is slightly bigger, apparently, to like an Ender 3, a G-Tech A10, a Voxel Lab, Aquila, and pretty much most of the printers that are out there in the 235 range. This one says that it's 280 millimeter for the height, so if that's the case, that's 30 millimeters higher than a Ender 3, which is pretty much your standard, because an Ender 3, I believe, comes in at 250. The V2 might come in at 260. I'm not 100% sure on that, but yeah, let's see here. So one of the issues is they don't really tell you what screws to use. So in here it says install left frame. This is number one, step number one. Okay, so I want you guys to see that. Don't worry about that. That's extra garbage. That's pretty much all in Chinese anyways. Oh, no, my bad. It does say M4 8 screws. So my apologies. Same for the X2. Okay, so it's the same size. All right, cool. So yeah, my apologies. It does say the size on there. So let's go ahead and open this bag up. We have our Bowden tube. We have a ton of zip ties, which I have, again, no idea why we have so many zip ties. Like, this kind of scares me that you provide this many zip ties for a build. Like, this is a full pack of zip ties. That's a lot. Like, I could see like 5 to 10 maybe, but that's like 20. So, actually, that's not what I need. I mean, I do need that. That's my stuff. Alright, so it does look like the bags are semi-labeled. Looks like this is the X switch. So that's a very interesting switch. Oh, it's the X and the Z. Okay, so they are labeled on their bags. So one has T-nuts, M4 8 screws. Let me get all these out here. M4 8 screws, and then we have M5 25 screws. So they are labeled very, very well, and I'll show you the labeling. Actually, these are labeled pretty nicely, actually. You usually don't see that. They're either just kind of thrown together, or they're labeled just kind of like cheaply. Like these are nice labels. Not that it's anything really to write home about for some people, but hey, I guess presentation to some people is nice to have. So, all right, so we got our T-nuts. We'll leave this packaged up for the time being until we get to it. Okay, so we need M4 8 screws, which are going to be the smaller ones, which already concerns me because these are very, very small screws for an upright. Now, I didn't see any holdings on this, but I will say that, it's got a nice holder on it, but the problem is what's holding it inside the base is something this big. So you only have like maybe 1/4 of an inch. So this is M4 by 8 millimeters. I don't think that's 8. So I don't know, maybe just me. So we're basically going to install both sides of the uprights onto the frame here. And so we're going to do, so it looks like this might actually be a pretty quick install if I decided to follow the directions for once. But the $1,000,000 question is, will it print? What's funny is I actually have an ANET ET4 that I need to do a review on, and I probably should unbox that and did a side by side with it, because pretty much, like I said, this is an ANET ET4, just Big Tree Tech, or I'm sorry, Big Tree Tech, Two Trees decided to add their own touches to it, as most people do. So a lot of companies, like I said, basically go out of their way to ask a company, hey, can you make this printer for us? And we'll pay you X amount of dollars, and we get a profit from it too. And they just basically slap their name on it. So I got my CR10 Smart on Friday. I saw that. Yeah, that looks really cool. I saw you. Were you having issues with it, or you were just asking about something? Pretty sure I remember seeing a post about it. So I've had my Ender 3 for almost 2 years, and I went to get a resin printer. What would you recommend that's low cost? So for resin printing, it is going to be a little bit more expensive to get into it. And what I mean get into it at a good start. So my two suggested things are a Voxel Lab Proxima, the 6.0 screen. They do have a Proxima 8.9. If you can afford that, great. The 8.9 I think is about $600, give or take. Actually, it was $500 last I checked, and they had a discount code basically to bring it down to $500. It was like $500 and some change, and then they had a discount code for at least U.S. Amazon. And then if you can get the small Voxel Lab, that's great starter. And then an Anycubic wash and cure station or an Elegoo wash and cure station, either one of those are pretty good. But that's definitely a must for me, just because it's a 2-in-1 system, and it's easier and it's less clutter. So in my opinion, it's just, you pay a little bit more to get that, but it's worth it in the end. You're not using multiple electrical outlets or anything like that, so it's really, really nice. So that's my suggestion for a first resin printer if you're just getting into it. But if you have the money, spend it, because it's better to get a medium-sized printer and just start off at that way than it is to get a smaller printer and then later on want to upgrade to a larger size. Because really, at this point in time, the smaller printers are kind of obsolete in the resin printing community. I don't know why companies are even making them anymore. We pretty much shifted. When I say we, the resin community has pretty much shifted to medium-sized printers to start off the bat, and that's really a good way to start, because you can find them fairly cheap for about $500, which, yeah, that might not sound cheap, but for what you get out of a resin printer, that is pretty cheap. So I'm struggling with an axis compensation, only adjusting at 0.5 millimeter, needs to be at 0.1. Gotcha. Okay, I knew I saw something where you were having some sort of issue with it. Oh boy, are we having our first issue with this? get the screw to thread correctly. Oh boy. Already running into an issue. Yeah, I understand the Z-axis. When you said adjusting the Z height and everything, yeah, I kind of figured that's what you were talking about. Okay, so that's in. Let's get this one in. Okay, that's better. It's going in much better. That's the exact printer I was looking at. Same with the washing machine. Thanks for the recommendation. By the way, since you're watching the channel, if you search through the channel, there is a review on the Voxel Lab Proxima, and I believe I did one for the Wash and Cure. There are affiliate links if you're going to buy through Amazon, and basically what that affiliate link does is anything you buy through that affiliate link, or anyone that's linked in my videos, if you buy anything off of Amazon from there, I get a little bit of piece from it. It's not much. Like, I think the most I got was when multiple people bought like an Ender 3v2. I think I got like $40 off of like eight of them. So, some people bought 8 in like a week's time, and I got like $20 to $40, I think, for it. So it's not much, but hey, something's better than nothing. Not like I need the support on the channel or anything like that, but you know, just always nice to have some pocket change. And unlike most, I don't really pocket that in a way. Like I don't have it go to my bank account or anything. I have it go directly to an Amazon gift card. So basically, I have to purchase something off of Amazon. So first off here, this bottom screw that I was having issues with, it's stripped. So that I hope doesn't cause an issue, but it shouldn't, because these 3 are in there. Oh, no, we got it tightened now. Okay, so it bit finally. All right. So yeah, one other thing is the reason why I'm pretty positive this is an A-net is the bed connector is straight up A-net one. If you guys have ever built, you know, an A-net A8 or an A-net A6 or one of their various knockoffs, the Prusa knockoffs, you'll know that the bed connector, oh my god, the bed connector is plastic and it just kind of clips in there. So first off, I don't know if you guys can hear this, but let's see. That sounds horrendous. This is terrible. Oh, and this bed screams A-net too. The way that it's set up, these screws are not locked in. But it just drove a 35-hour print of Lithophane Monster. But it just done. Sorry. Designed by Matt German. Ah, cool. And it came out really good. Well, that's good to know. That's good that that it's set up pretty good. It looked like a promising printer, to be in all honesty, so I wasn't too concerned about it. All right, so next we got to put in the X-axis. So this is actually going to go on the back side here. So yeah, this basically, well, that actually rides smooth. unlike the Enders that I built, that actually rides very, very smoothly. Like, now granted, I know we don't have the other side locked on, but usually an Ender never ever does that. And then on top of it, we also don't have the Z rod in there either. So to be completely honest with you, we'll put the Z rod in there right now. See how well it lines up. Oh, it actually lines up pretty good. I'm very surprised about that. We'll have to get our smaller ones. Which one? I think one side is cut better than the other. We'll see. Oh, that's why. Because they turned out one screw but not the other. Okay, so let's put that in there. Lock one in. Lock the other. So now that should be locked in there. Whew. I don't know if that's just me or that's just wobbling, but hey. Hey, what's up, non-fam? I will be sure to check out the review. Also, I've been having issues on my Ender 3 where the walls aren't sticking to each other or to the infill on the Z-axis. So one of the things you want to check, as I was showing you, you know, how it lifts up and down, a lot of times flat spots happen on these wheels. So check your wheels. What you can do is unplug your printer and literally lift the Z up. Lift it up slowly and then push it back down too. Do that a couple times and see if you feel it like stop at any point. It happens a lot of times to people and it throws off the entire machine. It can also happen on the bed too, so also check your bed since you're going to be checking this as well. So that's always a good thing to do. I actually just had one of my buddies who lives in the Netherlands. He got a Ender 3 basically for nothing from someone because he couldn't get it to print, and turns out, yeah, it had bad wheels. He couldn't wrap his head around what was the issue, and well, that was the issue. Is the wheels were just, they were either over tightened or they just weren't QC'd properly. And while they work, like you can print on a printer that has bad wheels. You just got to back them out a lot and let them be like super loose, but they're still going to have some sort of play in it a little bit. It'll stop, but the best remedy is to replace them, which kind of stinks because you got to, you know, take apart the entire machine. But if you're going to do that, you might as well just replace all of them and tear down the entire system and replace them with new ones. Either the same ones or go with polyurethane. I really don't think they're any better than either. They're about the same, but you know, whatever you can find that's readily available, but again, that's if that's the issue. That's just one thing to check on that. The other thing is to check the Z lead screw and make sure it's not binding up. Also check your coupler and make sure that that's good too. So that's for Z axis stuff. That's pretty much the basics of that. So, all right, where's my direction? Okay, as I say that and look right at it. Okay, so it shows you how to properly seat the coupler, so that's very nice. M3 set screws, okay, so we're good. Now we're going to put the other side on, and we're going to tighten that up. So this one is actually a little bit more, I want to say intuitive than an Ender 3. So that's how that should run for any of you guys wondering about stuff. We're just going to put that out there. So as you can tell already, see how there's some play in that? So we're either going to have to adjust the eccentric nut to lock it up, because you want it kind of tight on this, but not to where it's like squeezing it, like bear hugging it. You want it snug right up against it. You don't want this play here. So we could do one of two things. We can set it up right now. So there's an eccentric nut on the nut on this side, right in front of the extruder. So we can go ahead and tighten this up a little bit. So as you can see, we're good now. Still got a little bit of play, but that's more or less because we're riding on a single linear rail, or a single rail. But as you can see, there's no play anymore. So we'll do the same thing for this side too, just to make sure, because I'm pretty sure, yeah, there's a little bit of play on that. You can check it. Hear that? So we can even snug this up a little bit. And there we go. Done. A little bit of play. There you go. Done. There's almost no play in that. Now, we might have issues snugging that up, but we'll get to that when we can. So now we got to find out how they want us to snug that up. I really hope they want to snug this up with T-nuts, which I'm kind of so-so about that. That's kind of real ghetto, but in a way, it's easy to fix any issues with that. Do they have that on the same side here? I can't see. So, one thing I want to point out also is the Ender 3 on the opposite side here. So right where your extruder motor is, this screw specifically on the inner side has a lot of times that comes loose. And so what happens is this entire gantry goes like this. It wiggles up and down, basically how it was before. And people think, oh, it's just the eccentric nut. Well, no, it's not. It's the actual whole frame that holds onto that. So this bar that's getting screwed into the extruder motor assembly, it actually needs to be screwed back in. So I had a hell of a time with my Ender 3 and having that issue. So that's another thing a lot of people need to check for if they're having extrusion issues. So let's see here. Hold on, I got somebody that messaged me. Oh, okay. Never mind. Okay, so thanks for the information. I'll be sure to check for that. Yeah. So I mean, I can go through everything to check for, this and that throughout this entire video, because this is actually something I haven't really gone through in depth on a lot of printers. I just kind of fly through and just do it as is. So, all right. So it says the right slider is inserted from the bottom. Okay, we'll do that, and basically we're gonna do fix it to the X frame by M4 by 8. So. Okay. Palm wheel slowly slide into the V-shop. Be careful not to forcefully to avoid them. So it does tell you to just kind of be careful when you slide that this little blue side down, so you're not like slamming it down, because it will have an issue there. So yeah, it's 2 a.m. here. I would have had this stream earlier, but we had a tornado warning, so me and the family were down here in the basement hiding out from a tornado, or a possible tornado, which never really happened. So Yeah, the stream kind of got pushed back a little bit later than I'd like it to, but hey, it is what it is. We'll get it done. And basically go from there, so not the end of the world. Alright, so we're going to take our M4 screws and we're going to put some T-nuts in them. So this is just going to be interesting, period. Basically, we're just gonna pre-tighten them on there. Don't tighten them too down. All right, have a good night, man. Thanks for stopping in, watching the stream. I promise my next one will be earlier. Okay, so now that we got our T-nuts in there, we're gonna slot them into the bar. That one. Tighten up that one. Those two are good. And now okay. Not too bad. We'll probably have to do some fine tuning or tightening at least when we get this all set up here. Alright, so we got our T-nuts in there. Now we want the top bar to go on, which is an M5 25 by 4. So those are our big screws. Okay. And these should line up pretty easily. They shouldn't really have any binding. What I usually do is do 1 and 1. Make sure one is in. Which I can see already. We're going to have some issues here. Supposed to go. So let's swap this around and see if maybe these are off. I'll try and get this side first. Since this side will probably be easier to play with. Yeah, we're going to have issues with this binding already. So what I basically did is I just undid everything that I did before. And now everything fits the way that it should. Now why is that? It's It's because when you use the eccentric nuts, basically pushes the bar away from this. And in this case, that's what it's doing. It's bending the bar outwards. So while it's right, it's not necessarily right once everything is on the machine is squared. So it is best to, loosen it back up if need be, and tighten down your top and get your machine squared, then go in and readjust it. So if you have issues with that, just go ahead and untighten those screws. You can also untighten this side too if you want, and that'll basically get everything set up for you, and you won't have that issue. And again, just retighten it down, check it once everything is all set up. All right, Jake, have a good one. Thanks for stopping in. If you got any questions, just comments on here or on one of the videos or whatever. You can catch me on the Facebook page. And yeah, we'll get you all situated here, bud. Okay, so now that that's all set, let's check this. Okay. So yeah, we might have to loosen that back up. Okay, so now it says to install the extrusion head. Now, unfortunately, on here, it doesn't really show you that there's wires attached to it. So you kind of have to make sure that you put it on the right way. So you want to go up and over to put it on. I want to say that it said to take this off, but I could be wrong. Okay, so it actually says to slide it on from the extruder side. It should just slide right in. Oh, okay, cool. And this one is tensioned good, so there's no need to adjust any wheels there or anything like that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put the limit switches on here. That's that bag that we had right here. Okay, so the X limit switch is going to go right into here, which that is the X, and we're basically going to bolt that up with 2 screws. And it does show you how to place this in the picture, but just in case anybody wants to know, you want this, I can do this correctly, you want it like this, so that way it taps this way, not the opposite way. You don't want that tongue facing downwards. And there is 2 little tiny screw holes in here, which is why they give you the supplied miniature screwdriver, which I absolutely hate. First off, it's flathead, not Phillips, which the screws are Phillips, and they're insanely small. We're not going to be able to use that. It's not magnetic. Well, it's never a good stream without something going wrong, huh? That's definitely not it. Well, that's just fantastic. Ah, I found it. Aha, success. Yeah, so it's not a flathead screw, but they provide you with a flathead screwdriver. So it's a Phillips head screw. So I'm not really sure why they do that. But yes, I do agree with that. There should be absolutely no need for a flathead screw. So, all right. So now we need to install the x-axis. We need to install the Z-limit switch, which is right here. This uses a T-nut combo. This is the same size. Okay. So the Z-limit switch gets right up in here. Now it doesn't tell you exactly how high you should position it. So let's see. You can determine the proper positioning by moving the extruder nozzle to the hotbed and then move. So basically they say, hey, guess what? Put it here for now and then adjust it later on. So, yeah. Hey, what's up, Matt? Okay, so basically going to use these T-nuts for that. Yep, and I was right. That's exactly what this is for. That's a crazy setup that they got here for that. Okay, so basically they want us to put that there. Okay, there's that. Now we can put on the other two screws, which will be back here. Be interesting to see how this this setup goes. Yeah, you guys can probably see my little puppy down here. Yeah, she, like I said, we were all down here, and that's why I'm streaming so late, because of possible tornado. And she has like super high anxiety when it comes to loud bangs and stuff like that. So I was like, why are you down here? And then I realized, oh, hey, it's raining outside. And then my phone went off and it said, hey, guess what? There's a tornado warning for your area. And I was like, oh, great. That means there's a tornado in the area. Or at least a good chance for a tornado. So, all right. So on to step 9, which is the wiring. Did we skip the whole belt? Or is that later? I think I did go past the belt. Yep. I missed a step. It's what happens when I'm just kind of looking at pictures and not actually reading. So again, this kind of sets up similar to an Ender 3. This is where the zip ties come in, I bet. Oh, yes. Yes, it does. Yep. I am not a big fan of doing stuff this way, but hey. I already hate doing this, yes I do. The problem is the dang thing. basic wiring. That's set up. Okay. What you doing, Matt? I'm doing wiring. We're building the bluer by 2 trees. So now we're going to put the Bowden tube in. Now it does show you that you have to put this all the way down. And I can tell you right now that these connectors are garbage. Well, that one's good. That one's garbage. Okay, installation depth reference. So that is kind of nice that it tells you like what depth you're supposed to set the Teflon tube at to properly get everything. So it's very good. Okay, so basically belt tension adjustment. So yeah, we already tightened this belt. Might be a little too tight. Okay. Sorry, getting a message from someone about printers. Okay. So it looks like we got everything set up here that we needed to. And basically we're going to put one of these on here. We're just going to loosely put it on here. We're not going to tighten it up or anything. And then pull this out. That over here. Put one here. I prefer clips, but hey, they give you tons of these to work with. Zip ties. Basically, we just put 3 on there, kind of loosely. I guess if I really wanted to, I can clean up the wiring on this too, but really don't want to adjust that. So on here, it does actually say that you need to adjust the eccentric wheels, which most printing documentation does not tell you, hey, you should adjust for these wheels, 3, 4, and 5, which are basically the inside wheels and then the bottom one on the hot end. Usually you don't see that on there, so that's nice that they actually include that, because that's a step that pretty much every company doesn't really, state. So it does show that these are kind of cleaned up a little bit, so let's clean these up a bit. Yeah, we're going to leave these kind of loose, so that way they have some way of pulling up if need to. Okay. Now that kind of looks like a good machine. All right. Let's get these tools up out of the way. There's a ton of vibration in this printer. Oh my goodness. And there is a lot of play in the Z. You guys hear that? It needs one of those nuts that go under on the Z rod. Okay, so let's check this. We're pretty good on that. I don't know if this is tape or what is on here. Oh, that's one thing they did not provide is a spatula. So, I'm back. What have I missed? Matt was talking to himself. Nothing much, really. Not even 100% sure this is supposed to come off, but it's going to now. Because I'm already at it. So no, one of the things that you missed is they do actually tell you to adjust the eccentric nuts, which is pretty much unheard of in most manuals. So, but yeah, so basically it says Robin Nano, so that's what it uses, is a Robin Nano board, I guess. An MKS board. Okay, connectors, some errors, information about it, SD card. This does have removable drivers. I don't know if it'll say what type of driver it's got, which I don't think it does. It doesn't, at least in here, I believe. But it does have some basic steps on like what's going on with what. So if you're having some issues, it does have a little bit of troubleshooting. So yes, I agree 100% that, you know, a lot of times people think, oh, well, it's under extruding or it's over extruding or whatnot, when it could be something just as simple as something too tight. And it's making it clog because it's not passing the way that it needs to be. So that's a good possibility. So let's go ahead and boot this up. First off, let's double check and make sure that the power is switched to the correct one, which I don't think there is an ability to, which would explain why it says 110 on the box. So hopefully it powers up. Okay, now for the moment of truth. Magic smoke? Nope. Okay. So let's see here. Checking and adjusting before use. Okay, so it looks like everything. Something weird. Oh, that's just that. All right, so let's go. And so one of the things is it didn't show anything about this, I believe. Let's just double check through here. I'm pretty sure I know what that's for. That's for the bed. It's just some extra heating to keep the bed heated underneath. But yeah, it doesn't say anything about that on here. Nope. Finishing effect. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I'm guessing that's just a, if you want it, it's there, but we're not going to tell you that it is there type thing. Because it's not in there at all. Oh, it does say what drivers this have. So it does say that it does have a 2208 driver in it. So that's kind of nice. Q&A of heat bed, no. Yeah, so it doesn't really tell you about this, but we pretty much all know that this goes on the bottom of it here. Usually it'll go on like that. And basically it's just a heating pad for it. So, yeah. I don't think we'll need it, but we'll see. Now, should we stick this to the bed or leave it floppy and put some clips on it? Your choice, you guys. I can try and line it up and put it on there. get an answer in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're just sticking it on. So how do we stick on a mat? Very simple. Peel off one edge. You line it up on all four corners. I hate this. Because it went on nice, now it's not. About as good as it's getting. Which, pretty much spot on. Alright, let's go ahead and preheat this. Preheat the hot end to 210. And we'll preheat the bed to 60. We will need to get a sheet of paper, which they did provide, which I'm wondering that's what it is. Well, it's a packing slip, but it's going to be provided by that anyway. So let's go and home all. This says it's got 2208s on it, but that didn't sound like it. So at least it's got 2208s on the X and Y. It sounds like it's got 84988, 84998 drivers on the E and the Z, which is about right because 2208s are known to not have enough power. Yeah, we're gonna have to move that up. Z. Oop. So we're going to have to adjust that. That Z limit switch, we're going to have to adjust it up. We're clicking a little too low on that. That'll be good. That should be good enough. To get us to adjust the bed. Do it the way you like it. I don't like it any way. I use removable bed plates for that reason. Because I just don't, I'm indecisive. So. Alright, so do we have a leveling? Let's see here. First off, let's check our printer preheats. Okay. Bed is pretty toasty. hot end. Pretty toasty. Okay. Leveling. So this has got a similar setup to the Focus Odin 5, which again, that's another ANET brand printer. It's basically built exactly the same. Same type of stuff. It's just got a little better rigidity for the actual unit itself. So. I will say that their point system is a little off. Like point 1 actually shows the back left corner. Point 2 actually shows the back right corner. Point 3 shows the front right corner. And point 4 shows the front left corner. So their leveling is a tad bit off there. But that's fine. You get the point. As long as you do all 5 point system, yes, it does have a center as well. It'll be all right. So it is a little slow in terms of leveling. Go around and do the points at least 2 to 3 times just to verify everything. Might have to move the Z a little bit down. Hi, pups. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. All right. Let's go ahead and grab some filaments here. Grab this roll since it's fresh on here. Make sure our filament detector is set up here. home, and then we'll get on our way with our first print. Our teeny little 4 gig SD card. Okay. Let's see what's on the SD card here. Okay, there's a ton of stuff on here. So we may have to take a look at this on the system. Let's see what the system tells us. All right, so let's see here. We have a zip file on here. Configuration, software, test files, model file. So we'll just extract everything to the drive, USB drive E. Okay. So it has a couple square files, which is a 10 by 10 by 10, 20 by 20 by 20, 130 by 130 by 2, and then a lighthouse, which I think I might just end up doing a lighthouse. But it's got all the configuration and everything saved on there, so we're just going to let that be. I just loaded on the files, and we're going to go and print. Printing. We'll do the lighthouse. Now, does it have baby step? Like they did have black filament loaded in here. Let's see what's going on here. So we're jumping up to 210. Not sure why it paused, but all right. That purge out of the color there. Should start seeing some white. Yep. Starting to purge the color out. Not sure if this will be on a raft or not. It probably is. All right, we're printing. One thing I wanted to see is if they have baby step. More, no. I don't know what that is, manual or auto. See if it gives any information on what that is. I don't think that's auto leveling. to look at the instructions on the SD card once this is done. But I don't believe this has automatic leveling on it. Because I did not see anything about that. Let's look at the specs here. What type of SD card comes with it? Literally a no-name brand. It has no name on it whatsoever. So let's see. We have intelligent leveling, which that could just mean that it's got leveling on it. High precision, no gap feeding, large size, temperature control, special platform, HD touch, power failure. Which we all know that power failure is literally just a marketing gimmick that doesn't really work. At least in my experience, it's never worked. Never. Something always happens. Okay, so there is a difference between the Bluer V1 and the Bluer V2, which I am not exactly sure which model this is. Let's take a gander and see if it says on the box which version this is. It does not say. So I'm not 100% sure which model this is. This is the V1 or the V2. Oh, I guess it's got different colors and different setup. So this is actually the Bluer V2. So this is actually the newer model of the V2. Yeah, and it looks like we're printing, looks like a raft. So this has got an MKS Robin Nano V version 1.2. And it does have, like I said, 2 by 2208, most likely for the X and the Y. And then it's also got an A4988 for the E and the Z. And this is a great combination because, like I said, when it comes to Z stuff, you want to have something that's stronger. While 2208s will be okay to print, when you're doing long hour prints, having like a direct drive setup, or not a direct drive, a dual geared extruder, set up on this, it's a little bit heavier on that side. So you want something that can be able to hold up the Z while it's printing and not have any issues. So this is actually a very, very good combination. I'm not 100% sure about the board. The board is kind of so-so. You know, it's obviously a lower end board, but it works. So, but yeah, in terms of what it's got, I'm trying to see if it's got auto bed leveling or not. I don't think it does. It didn't look like it. I think their smart leveling is just a fancy way of saying, hey, the manual bed leveling. Which basically, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Because it doesn't say anything about automatic leveling. Now, again, it does have a filament runout sensor. I'm not 100% sure that is even working. Usually there's some sort of light on. I don't see any light on, so I don't think anybody's home. But even if so, we'll take a look at that. We'll test it out and see. I want to say we're actually a little close there, but we'll see how that first layer goes down. But yeah, for the most part, it's a pretty simple setup. It's very similar to any printer in its price range, which I believe this is, because I can't look it up on Amazon because it's not available anymore because there is 2 different versions. So let's see what they have it for sale on their website, which I can't even tell you because it says 404 page not found. So I can't even tell you how much they're going for on their own website because it's not working. But I want to say that they were going for around the same price range as like between the Ender 3 and the Fucos. Which again, the Fucos is basically another version of this. A little more updated than even this model. So they're all based off of the ANET ET4. If you guys know anything about ANETs, they basically corner the market for these budget style printers, which it's not necessarily a bad thing. ANET actually makes a fairly good product nowadays, unlike the disasters with the A6 and the A8, which, again, those are pretty much non-existent anymore, or at least I haven't heard of them. Maybe that's just because of the fact that nobody buys them anymore, but still, even if so, that's basically what this is a product replication of the ANET ET4 and just rebranded out to several different manufacturers. So you can pretty much tell when it is an ANET because it's going to have this enclosed base. There's only one other company that does enclosed base style printers, and that's Creality. And even that, I kind of question sometimes, is that actually Creality printer? Because as of late, working with Creality products, it seems that they're not Creality products. So, yeah. I don't know about the FDM side, but at least the resin side. Yeah, that's a whole other story to get into, but yeah, pretty much we'll let this thing print and let it go. I don't know if I got enough filament in there. If not, we'll find out really quickly if the filament runout sensor does or does not work. We might have to enable that. Let's check that right now and see. Maybe we can find that out. Let's see. Let's go back here. No, we can't. Yeah, there's nothing more. So we'll have to take a look at that once it's done. It says it's at 1% already finished, which I'm not sure why it keeps stopping. I don't know if that's because I'm messing with it or what's going on. Shouldn't be doing that. Well, we'll let this print and see how it goes. And that's pretty much it. So my initial impressions of the machine is it's not bad. Like I said, unfortunately, I can't even tell you what price range this is in because I don't have any information about that. Let's try and do a quick search on it and see if I can get a price somewhere else. Because as of right now, I don't see that. So 3D printers bay. Let's take a look at that. So 199 on 3D printers bay. So yeah, it's right in the Creality Voxel Lab price range that $160 to $210 range, if that's the case. And this is for the V2, which that's what this is. And yeah, so it says auto leveling, but I don't see how it does auto leveling. I did not see a sensor in there. So we'll have to take a look at that and see. And I didn't see anything about auto leveling inside this book anywhere, nor on the hot end or anything like that. So, I don't know. And I didn't see any auto leveling system on the hot end itself. I probably said that already, but yeah, and it doesn't even show one because it actually shows a breakdown of the hot end right there. And yeah, I mean you would clearly see if it's got a BL touch or some sort of sensor. So I'm not sure how it does auto leveling, but on here it says 2 Trees Bluer has an all metal frame and a heated bed. That's pretty much anything in its price range. Auto leveling, no need for time consuming manual bed leveling. Which again we'll have to take a look at and see, as well as the filament runout sensor, because like I said, usually there's a light on, but this case there's no light there. Like there's a little tiny pinhole, and there should be a light in there, but I don't see anything. So either it's not properly plugged in here, which I checked that, it seems to be, or it's not properly plugged in the board, or it's just disabled from factory, which is kind of weird. I don't know why you would nerf your product right out of the box, but hey, that's just me. But yeah, so for the most part, it's not too bad of a printer. Like I said, it's basically a rebranded ANET ET4 or ET4X, and yeah, that's pretty much what it is. To be in all fairness, you know, it might have the dual gear drive and the filament runout sensor, but I think the ET4X also has something like that, just maybe a different version. And then obviously doesn't have an ANET board; it's got a MKS Robin, which, you know, is it better than an ANET? It's probably right on par with it. But I'm very surprised to see them switch the boards, or I'm sorry, switch the drivers to a good setup that you're supposed to have on a board setup in general, just because for power purposes. So that's kind of nice that they actually swapped that out and did that right. So that I'm kind of surprised about. But for the most part, the machine setup is pretty straightforward. It probably takes you just as much as to set up an Ender 3, so it's not too bad. Might even be a little bit less, problematic to set up than an Ender 3. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good buy for what the price is. We'll do our normal testing for about a week or so, give it some good test prints. I got some new ones that were sent to me, so we'll throw some new tests on and see how it goes. Well, like I said, once this print is done, we'll check out the filament runout sensor and the auto bed leveling system, and we'll get that back into the actual review. But yeah, we'll just let this go for about a week now and see how it goes, and go from there, and give our actual feedback on it. But as of right now, it's printing okay. It's not the greatest first layer, but I'm just gonna let it run, and like I said, we'll see that auto bed leveling. If that doesn't work, then I might just end up readjusting the Z one more time, just a smidge down, and then redoing the leveling again and seeing how that goes. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I'm gonna leave you be. It's late at night here, and yeah, if you got any questions, comments, concerns, go ahead and post them down below. And if I got links to purchase this printer, I will put them down there and post them in the actual review as well. And that's pretty much it. That's all I got for you guys. Until next time, happy printing.